Dear friends, thank you for inviting me to address you on one of my favorite topics, ping pong diplomacy. I'd like to begin by telling you a short story about how I learned about it. In the spring of 1971, my oldest brother was playing against a neighbor on our table in the basement. One day my brother finally beat his friend. Seeing my brother's excitement, his friend told him about our local table tennis club. Some other of my brothers also took up the sport. Sometime later, my mom asked me to go with her to pick up the boys. I don't know what I was expecting, but I recall I was very shocked to see many of the players wearing shirts with two paddles that featured US and Chinese flags. The slogan, "Ping Pong Power," was also on many shirts. I wondered aloud what this all meant. They asked me, "How could you not know?" I replied, "I'm just a little kid, but I want to know." That's when I was told about ping pong diplomacy and how table tennis was the sport that changed the world. That moment in time stirred my heart, and I committed right then that table tennis would be my sport. The friendship first captured my attention more than the competition second. Almost my entire experience in the sport has revolved around finding a way to promote and sustain the legacy of ping pong diplomacy. First, I had so much to discover. Even though I was still quite young, I made it a point to befriend as many of the members of the 1971 delegation as possible. Then I continued to ask questions. As I kept learning more, I found I enjoyed writing articles, many times about the top players in the world. That led to being selected to serve in the media department for table tennis during the 1996 Olympics. In Atlanta, I had the opportunity to ask then CTTA President Xu Yanxing about the 25th anniversary of ping pong diplomacy. He expressed some disappointment. "It's like having dinner with a friend. We invited you, then you invited us. Then things stopped. It would be better if we continued the friendship," he said. Those words affected me. In 1999, I became president of USATT Table Tennis. One of the first things I did was approach Mr. Xu at the World Championships in Eindhoven. He and other CTTA officials warmly endorsed the revival of our relationship. Those included Li Fulong, Zhang Zilin, and Yang Shuan. In 2000, the CTTA invited us to bring a small group of youth players with their coaches for the Millennial Friendship Tour. At many of the events we attended, I was asked to give a speech. It was a great opportunity to address the importance of carrying on the legacy of ping pong diplomacy. In 2006, USA Table Tennis returned to China to celebrate the 35th anniversary of ping pong diplomacy. It was a meaningful and touching trip. Several of the original members of the 1971 delegation participated. Although Glenn Cowan had passed away, his 93-year-old mother was delighted to visit China. The players gave speeches, signed autographs, and reunited with longtime friends. Then came the fabulous 40th anniversary celebration in 2011. I vividly remember former U.S. President Jimmy Carter talking about how the friendships between Chinese and American table tennis players resonated with people throughout the world. On each of those trips, our delegation enjoyed visiting Shanghai. There are many special memories that stay with us through the decades. The warm hospitality of the Shanghai table tennis officials, as well as double happiness. We enjoyed friendly matches at the Shanghai Middle School, the evening river cruises, and the finale, eating dumplings at the restaurant famous for the Chinese specialty. There will always be future exchanges because Friendship First was established 50 years ago. There are 5 living members of the original delegation. Some of the invitations USA Table Tennis has received in the past involved getting quick responses from the participants. Without exception, Every time the enthusiastic reply is, "Yes, I'm clearing my calendar." And I can already hear that same response when the time is right again. Going forward, we must keep in mind that part of carrying on the legacy of ping pong diplomacy involves finding new and interesting ways to celebrate the historical figures who contributed to the unique moment in history. Let's recall some of these people and dynamics now. How Edgar Snow caught the first ITTF President Ivor Montague's attention when he revealed in Red Star Over China that the Chinese love to play ping pong. How Ranguotan pledged to become China's first ever world champion, which he accomplished in 1959 on the 10th anniversary of the People's Republic of China, and how that led to the founding of Double Happiness. How China then hosted the World Championships in 1961, where Zhuang Zedong became the new world champion, and then held that title again in 1963 and 1965. How three Japanese, Hikosuke Tamasu, Ichiro Ogimura, and Koji Goto, pursued friendship with China, leading to the team's participation at the 1971 World Championships. How U.S. President Richard Nixon and China's Premier Zhou Enlai maneuvered behind the scenes, which created an atmosphere of hopefulness between the Chinese and American players in Nagoya. How Chairman Mao decided to invite the American table tennis team at the conclusion of the 1971 World Championships, and how the ping heard around the world led to Richard Nixon's trip to China in 1972. There are so many memories to cherish and so many more to make. Thank you.